Hello, hello, hello. This is Fix It with a Friend, where I talk about all things faith, family, food, and fun. Trying to pan around to give you a good shot of what's going on with the AeroGardens. And as you can see here, I've had a lot of growth happen. So um, these are, this is the same setup in my sprout garden right here in front of us. And I have another zinnia that's doing really well. I was just telling my husband last night that unlike my previous zinnias, these have started to put out buds at a much smaller height. And there's some here that I just dropped in new seeds. This pepper plant that was here is now over here. And I started a mason jar plant with it. I was a little nervous about moving it. If you can't already tell from my previous videos, just transplanting them when they're in the middle of growing and doing so well makes me nervous, y'all. But I did it, and as you can see, I was especially nervous about this one with reason, because it had so many little pepper blooms that were already going and doing really well. And when I noticed at the point that I was about to transfer it that it had so many little buds that were doing so well, I thought to myself, maybe now, sorry about that darkness, I was trying to brighten it up for us, maybe now's not the time. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I shouldn't move it. But because it got to a size where it was far too large to be in the sprout, I went ahead and moved it. And that is also about to be the case for this purple leaf basil. It's going to have to come out soon as well. And as always, starting multiple things in the AeroGarden is something that some of us renegades like to do. But you have to be cautious of the fact that these smaller seedlings, especially my zinnia seeds that need light to germinate and grow well, are getting shadowed out. They're getting placed into the shadow of these other leaves. So I want to get these out and move them around. Let me put this pepper plant out of the way. So I have some tiny dots in the back that are actually the AeroGarden seed kits. Are the little, these right here, these tiny dots. And they literally have tiny dots on the leaves. Most of them are doing well now. Now, I know I showed you guys before and they were kind of all looking like this, so I don't know if this one is stunted or what's going on. And over to this part of my harvest, I had some initially some lavender that didn't do well, and I did get an email from AeroGarden responding to me, letting them know that my seeds didn't germinate. I got a response saying that I didn't give the specific names of the seed pods. I guess I had just said lavender seed, like lettuce seed, this and that. So I need to give the name like salad blend or gourmet, what was it? Gourmet herb mix or gourmet herb garden. Basically, the gist of what I got from the email response was that I needed to give the specific box name or the name as it was identified on the AeroGarden seed box. So I'm working on that now, but they have responded. I just need to send them a response back. And then right back here in the back is another zinnia that, as I mentioned, they already have our little buds coming out. So I'm going to be transplanting this zinnia, and I'll show you the Big Bertha zinnia that's going in the other garden in a moment. But I wanted to show y'all, ow, that's hot. Let me pause this. And this looks a little crazy, so I apologize, but I wanted to get this out to show y'all that my kale in the back is getting more of the true leaves. I think that this one right here is a little stunted, not doing as well. And again, that's another challenge of growing multiple things or different variety things in a very small garden like this sprout. So as I mentioned, I only intended to start seeds from here, or start seeds in this garden. I didn't intend for them to get this large, but again, we had the storms going on here in Louisiana, hurricane damage. As a person that works in the kind of first responder field, I've been networking with folks and trying to get resources down to that area. So sometimes my AeroGardens just sit on the back burner a little bit when it comes to that. But I did want to show y'all too that the cilantro that I had in here did germinate and is growing. Sorry, I'm all distracted, but it's looking a little bit not like cilantro. That looks almost like fennel, huh? This one here is doing some interesting stuff. So So far, everything in the herb pots that I dropped in are still going and looking good. And I will be transplanting. Sorry, I'm trying to look past myself and look at the garden. I will be transplanting this kale soon and hopefully giving it some more nutrients so that it gets some nice big green um, leafy growth. I've been excited to see this purple leaf basil and how it's taken off. Trying to bring that into focus for you. But it looks awesome. And I'll show you my plans for this next because I also have a mason jar setup that I'm planning to use for that. Okay, but I did want to tell y'all, because of the success that I've had with my other pineapples in my AeroGarden that I'm going to show you in a moment, I ordered some more of these pineapples that I got off Amazon. This particular variety is called a white jade pineapple, and I got this one because I was actually telling my husband about this over the weekend. It is said to be a type of pineapple that when it grows to fruit, you can eat the entire pineapple, core included. So I was kind of intrigued by that and wanted to see, again, if I'm able to grow that pineapple. All right, and I mentioned that I had a big Bertha Zinnia that was growing in my garden, and this is that Zinnia plant, and it actually has a new bloom that's starting to come out. So I'm pretty positive that this is one of my Purple Prince Zinnia seeds, and I do actually have that seed packet nearby. So it was a burpee seed, Purple Prince, and it's an heirloom variety. So I'm excited to save these seeds and be able to continue growing them. But it is definitely about 16 inches high. The maximum height of this harvest is 12 inches. I'm trying to give you a panned out view of it. And so it's going to have to come out, and I'm going to be moving this to my front porch and putting it inside of a discarded tree stump that I've turned into a little planter garden. Now over here are my I think they were yellow gold pineapples. I'll have to look it up and make sure I update that in the comments because I do have the information in it still saved in my Amazon history. And as I mentioned to y'all before, they're getting bigger, still putting out some really nice leaves. Had some fronds that died off at the bottom, so I pruned those back. And I may be transplanting these outside at some point, but for now they're still growing well. And I've enjoyed seeing them. And literally there's two on this side. And again, just look at that new growth. Oh, so pretty. And then two on that side. And this Zinnia is in the middle. And I have this other space capped off with one of the little AeroGarden caps. It came with one of my bell pepper kits. So that is what's going on with my AeroGardens. And I've been taking this, letting it grow. It's definitely the cut and come again variety. And as I've cut them, they've put out new blooms. So I'm excited to see how these bloom. And because of the maturity of the plant, I think I'm pretty comfortable with transplanting this one outside. And the area that I'm going to put it in is pretty shaded. So I'm just going to nurse it, water it in well. And I'm excited to see how it does once it's outside and has more space to grow in. So that's what's going on with my AeroGardens. I hope y'all are doing well. And as always, this is Fix It with Fran, where I talk about all things faith, family, food, and fun. I hope your gardens are growing well, and thank you for watching.